So next on the agenda, without me going back up there, I'd like to call up Jerry Moss. We're making a proclamation in the month of June, designating it as Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month, PTSD. So a few weeks ago, we had our Memorial Day services, and as part of my remarks on Memorial Day, not just honoring those who have given their lives, which we are very thankful, there are a lot of veterans in the community who have not honored us with their life, but they've given our country with and come back with a disability of some kind. And some of those disabilities are apparent. If you see a veteran in a wheelchair or with a prosthetic, you know that they're an injured veteran. But PTSD is something, and I'm sure Jerry will tell you, it's something that you can't see. It's inside of a person. And so I think it's really important to us to recognize that there are a lot of veterans that are coming back who have served our country faithfully that have this illness that I would just like the community to be aware of. And so I'll just read the very first paragraph and then I'll turn it over to Jerry to tell us what she does for the community. But the first paragraph says, whereas post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, can occur after a person experiences trauma, including but not limited to the stress of combat, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, bombings, accidents, and natural disasters, and affects approximately 8 million adults in the United States annually. And so Jerry works for Atlantic Health, and she is a behavioral health clinician working with our veterans with PTSD through a group called True North. Yes. And I'll let you explain what you do to the community.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I work as part of Atlantic Health. It's a program called True North, and it is funded through philanthropy and started just about 2 years ago. There was a veteran that had come to the Morristown Medical Center in crisis. He was thinking about taking his life, and he wanted to be treated at Morristown Medical Center rather than to be transferred down to VA in Lyons. And what happened was another veteran had gotten involved, and the director of behavioral health had gotten involved to make that happen so that he would be able to get his care at Morristown Medical Center. That kind of planted the seeds so that the mission became never to allow a veteran to go without mental health care when he or she needed it. So they brought me on board in July of 2017, and I and my colleague John have developed this program, and we offer behavioral health services to veterans and family members regardless of discharge status. So if any of you are familiar with VA healthcare, there are certain parameters that you need to follow in order to qualify for VA healthcare. But we help kind of fill that gap because we will see anyone, regardless of what mission they have served, as long as they've put on the uniform and taken the oath, we're happy to see them. And that includes family members, spouses, surviving spouses, partners, siblings, etc. And so we do a lot of community outreach, and one of the things that True North is very intent on doing is to reduce the stigma of PTSD in the community. As was mentioned, PTSD affects about 8 million people. Everyone that experiences or witnesses a traumatic event does not necessarily get PTSD. But the problem becomes that those that exhibit those symptoms, and most common we think of somebody with PTSD is hypervigilant or hyperactive. Sometimes people with PTSD will experience that negative mood. Substance use increases. The likelihood of a suicide attempt increases as well. So we want to decrease the stigma of PTSD in the community, not only with the patients, but for those that live and love others with PTSD. We have so many of our first responders here. They can be affected with PTSD as well because they're constantly witnessing traumatic events on a day-to-day basis. So what we do with True North, not only do we do the counseling, right off the green in the Mount Kemble Atlantic Rehabilitation Building. But we also go up to Newton Medical Center to see veterans and their families. And we also make those community linkages. So veterans and families can call us. Let's say they want to know how to get that paperwork done if they want to connect with the VA. We have those community partnerships with the county, even with Sheriff Gannon's office, with veteran-friendly providers throughout Morris County and Sussex County. Veterans might be in need of a financial resource or transportation or some sort of other medical resource. So we at Atlantic Health kind of want to be the hub of being able to link veterans and families to those resources. So I'm just really thrilled to be able to represent Atlantic Health and the True North program and to receive this proclamation.
The language on this proclamation came from the VA itself, and it says between 10 and 30% of service members will develop PTSD within a year of leaving combat. That is a staggering statistic to me, and as Jerry just said, alleviating the stigma associated with PTSD, I think, will allow more of them to come out and get the treatment they need.
Yes.
But it really is a staggering statistic, and I'm glad I was able to make more people aware of it. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Chief, I'll turn it over to Chief DeCarlo.